Hi guys, we've got chapter 13 today. A Term for the Worse. Frankie, Mum called as she stepped out from the conservatory with a tray filled with steaming mugs of trognog. Ah, there you are. She was wearing about 10 cardigans, one on top of the other, and looked like she was turning into a stressed human trogamy bauble. There were bits of tinsel sticking out of her hair and smudged of glitter on her cheeks and where she'd obviously been frantically decorating the dining hall. Frankie, take Zingri and get yourselves dressed for the feast, she said, and she started handing out the drinks to our greedy guests who came flocking from all corners of the garden. Nancy's nearly finished cooking and I want you both looking your best for the party. Oh, but Mum, I grumbled. I wasn't about to leave all the fun just to go and put on a scratchy shirt. No buts, mister, Mum shot back. I want everything to be perfect tonight, and that means you looking presentable. I do look presentable, I said. Mum raised an eyebrow. I look fine. Oh, I glanced down and realised I was still wearing my pyjamas from this morning. All the rush of Nancy's early wake-up call and our unexpected guests had made me completely forget. Well, Mum said, pulling her I'm always right face. Off you go. Finally, having to admit defeat, I went back inside with Zingri and we headed for my room. I've never got changed so quickly in my life. As fast as I could, I put on my purple jacket, short trousers, and great-great-great-granddad Abe's favourite socks and was ready to go. Done, Zingri said, admiring herself in the mirror. Yetis don't wear clothes, so she's taken even less time I had and just thrown on a necklace made from little bones and tied her hair up in a knot on the top of her head. Let's go back downstairs. We both jumped into the armchair in the corner of the room and sat down. I clicked the combination into the dial on its arm and the chair junded downwards. We had nearly made it to the floor when, "Look," Zingri whispered, pointing at the open library doors. There was a nomad with the magpie on its shoulder. It hadn't spotted us and it looked like the creature and the bird were peeking around the door frame at something in reception. "Hello," I called, and the nomad spun around, blinking its green eye at us through the single hole in its mask. "Are you okay?" The magpie bristled its feathers and wriggled its talons. "Sneaks," it hissed. "Sorry," I said, wondering why the nomad and the bird were still here and hadn't just upped and left after the terrible welcome they received earlier. "Sneaks made us jump," the magpie said, "stealing Slick's tipsterones." "Are you looking for something?" I asked, trying to be polite. "Frankie," Zingrid said. She was obviously feeling as awkward as I would. "I think we should, I was just about to make up an excuse so we would get away from the creature and its bad-tempered bird when the magpie said something I wasn't expecting. "Screams," it croaked. "Pardon? Screams and sadness at the end of nothing to see here hotel." I gawped at the strange pair for a moment, looking from the nomad's green eyes to the black eyes of the mysterious bird. Blistery badness and hurtsy prickling screams. Revenge is coming. I was just then that Zingrid flinched and grabbed my waist. "Frankie," she gasped, "look." I glared past the nomad and my heart jumped up in my throat. Through the archway and its open doors, I could see that reception hall was now covered in a thicket of thorns and brambles, snaking across the snow-covered floor and twisting up the staircase banister like some terrible, strangling monster. Everywhere I looked, there were tendrils with vicious-looking barbs climbing up the archways and twisting from the chandeliers. The vine patterns on the enchanted wallpaper that we watched wither and die in the bitter cold had suddenly sprung back to life and were covering in huge spikes with jagged, ugly leaves. Where they had been pretty flowers, they were ghastly fly traps that squirmed across the walls. Walking into the centre of the room, I saw the Weber barriers were sprouting from the vase on the stone counter. Hadn't there been a dead flower in there earlier? I seemed to remember Mum fussing over it before Maudley Maloney had come crashing through the door. Maloney! This has something to do with her curse. I turned around and there she was, the grizzling old grunion, sitting on the front stoop of her caravan, stirring a small cauldron over a fire she'd made in the snow. "Well, that's all, isn't it?" she said, leering a wonky smile. "What is strange to do?" "You did this!" I yelled. "Non-cumbumps," she barked back. "I've been minding my own business, of peas and carrots, cooking up a spot of supper." She licked the spoon and smacked her cracked lips together. "Glow, grumbum, what try? You want some?" "Don't change the subject. I know this was you." "Nope, not me," Maudlin snickered. "Not old Maloney." "Of course it was," I said. "Dead flowers don't just sprout thorns and grow up all over the place on their own." "The Gomad saw everything," Zingrid said as she marched up next to me. "Ha, I'm sure he did," Maloney cackled. I looked back to where the creature and its bird had been standing, but the nomad was gone. It warned Frankie, Zingred continued. It said there'll be a hurtsy prickling screams. Maybe there will be, Maudling said, staring at me with a wicked twinkle in her eye. From the looks of this, I'd say you're all in a whoopee big tangle of trouble. You don't scare me, you mean old foozle fart, I cried. Careful, boy, Miss Maloney said through gritted teeth. I wouldn't want to upset the leprechaun now, would you? I don't care, I bellowed. I was furious. I could have swung the horrible fairy by her dreadlocks and thrown her straight out the front door. I don't care if the curse was soup, or make a trog hot dry, or cover the whole hotel in thorns. You won't ruin our trolliday. With that, I grabbed Zingrid and we ran off towards the dining room. Have a lovely dinner, Maudlin called after us in a sickening chuckle. I hope everyone's feasts until their bellies burst. Oh, she's really not a very nice character at all, is she? Now, Miss Coatman will be doing the readings next week, so make sure you tune in then to find out what happens during the Trolliday. Bye, guys.